to you. I feel a bit delicate today. Okay, so like, it's an overall, it's a really good start. Okay, so there's lots of potential here. You've got a nice range of shot types. The stuff in the kitchen I think works really well, and you've got some interesting shots in the bedroom as well. Okay. In terms of thinking about things to develop, because obviously it's a rough cut, so it's about kind of taking it forward even more. So there's a couple of shots. I think they're bass tracks where the lip sync's out. I don't know if you noticed those. I think there's 3, so I'll go through and I'll show you which ones. When you mark them, how did you mark the bass tracks? Did you just mark the first vocal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so when you're doing the bass tracks, I know in the tutorial we show you just the first vocal, but that's to do with time. Okay, so when you're doing your own, you need to do the first vocal on every verse and every chorus. Because what tends to happen, and I think that's what's happening on this, is we tend to sing either a tiny bit too ahead or a tiny bit behind. So it might look like part of it is synced, but it falls out of sync. Okay, so if you mark them at regular intervals, it's easier to go back to that certain point rather than go back to the whole thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think you've got 3 that were out. Okay, and then we're cutting in the middle of a lyric, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so you have to think carefully about the beat, because obviously you need to cut to the beat to match the tempo of the song, and this has got a brilliant tempo. It's like when you listen to this, you actually want to dance. And I'll come on to that in a minute, all right? But although you're driven by the cutting to the beat, because this is a dancey tune, okay, you can't cut in the middle of the lyric. Or sometimes you might want to hold a cut a tiny bit longer so that you don't, so that when you cut to the next shot, we get you beginning to sing the lyric rather than getting ready to sing the lyric, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that, and then the only other thing that I would say, so we've got a little bit of, I get what you're doing at the beginning, it will work, we just have to, I think you need to reorder the shots a tiny bit. It was here, wasn't it? Reorder the shots a tiny bit, and I think we could do the tapping, make a bit more of the tapping. Maybe bring that in a bit earlier, so you've got 3 taps or something, and then cut to you with the intro, okay? But we'll come to that in a minute. Then the only other 2 things that I was going to suggest, one of them I suppose is quite specific, and the other one, I don't know. It's not really. It's very general. It's not something I don't know quite what you would do for it. So it's just a feeling, if that makes sense. Okay. So when we get a change in tempo, so the choruses. Okay, structurally it's really good. Okay, so I know from looking at it, I wouldn't need to listen to this to know when I'm in a verse and when I'm in a chorus. So that's great. Okay, but it's really up tempo in the chorus, and I don't know if we need to cut in a few more things or have a bit more in the chorus that reflects that we're really up tempo. And then also in the second one, I don't know if it was the outro. You know where I said I'm not sure if you finished here, or you haven't done this bit, and you said no, we haven't. There's a slight change in tempo, and it felt like it could do with some, I don't know, superimposition, or, and I've not asked you to do that yet, but so just kind of thinking, kind of going forwards, or some, I don't know, panning, or I don't know, we need some kind of layering going on, because there's layering in the song.
Yeah.
So I'll show you where I mean that. And then the other thing is, with the tempo, it just feels there needs to be, not just because you've got the camera movement, but I wonder if it needs more movement, either from you or you need to cut to some kind of movement or something. So I'm going to show you another one in a minute to kind of give an idea of what I mean. I'm not saying that's what you do. I'm not quite sure what you would do. But if I show it you as we go through, and hopefully it will make sense. Does that make sense? But structurally, it's really good, and that's normally the basis of my rough cut feedback. Is the structure's not good, and you've got to start again, and you don't have to start again at all. It's just about kind of it's beginning to refine it now. Okay, so can you see how your finger begins to go up and then you cut? But what would be better? So can you see how it goes up? What would be better to do? If the finger's starting to go up, it's the movement. So what really do we want to see? The end of the movement, which is the tap again. So you just need to reposition those against the beat, which I think is quite easy to do. Will it play if I take that? How do I do it so it plays on here? I can never remember now focused yet. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and what I would probably do to get that in is I wouldn't start that shot with you like that looking down. I would probably start the shot around about there. You've got a direct address to the viewer, and that's our main introduction to you in this verse. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you're bringing that forward a little bit, it'll get you 3 taps in. Okay, so can you see there you started don't in the other bit? Okay, so can you see, we can see your mouth beginning to go don't, and then it cuts to the next shot. So where would you cut that?
After go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cut. And didn't same there as well. So it's just cutting those 2 bass tracks a bit too early, or a bit too late in this case. Sounds nice. You can even hold that a bit longer, but if you're cutting that tiny bit quicker, I think basically what's happening is you're cutting about a second too late.
Okay.
Well, not even be quite a second. Okay? So you bring it in a little bit earlier. Okay? So you would hold that. So can you see how you begin to look and then it quickly cuts, but there's enough in there to cut that either a tiny bit later or you cut the earlier bit a bit later. And that bit there. So rather than seeing you getting ready for the lyric, you cut there. See you. Okay, so that's the only bit there. So you want something. You need. So I can see we're going from there into there. So when you're putting on the transitions, I would put on either a dissolve or a very quick kind of fade to white that fades out into that pan.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting this more seamlessness of going into those 2. Right. Okay, so can you see how you've cut off the lyric there? And that one's a bit out. Okay, so can you hear how it's really, really upbeat there?
Yeah. I do get what you're saying.
Does that make sense? So I don't know, it just feels like it needs something, but I don't know what that thing is.
I think,
It might be you cut in more.
yeah, I think we want to do like some stuff with like overlaps and then like some stuff with
The choruses are quite short, aren't they?
yeah.
I think maybe if we just change the cutting. So where
More
you've
faster.
got, so I would cut here. The cuts are a bit longer. I would reflect the pace. I would maybe half the cutting. So you do 2 in every one that you've got now. Cut. Oh, you can't because it's in the lyric. That's a problem. So on each. So maybe you'd have and I cut. Wonder if. What are the rest of those? Cut. 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 Yeah, so I think you could get a few more shots in there and maybe that will reflect it. It almost feels like it needs some dancing.
I know, I just felt so awkward.
No, I get it, I totally
Because
understand.
it was like the most busiest.
Yeah, I know. But in a way that's coming across.
Yeah, it is coming
Because your
across.
performance in the other bits is really confident. And maybe that is the, no, it's not a problem. So we don't use that word. Because it isn't, no, it's not a problem. It's just, if we're going to develop bits, that might be a bit to develop further. Okay? So we do the cutting. I mean, that's a really nice frame. It's a really nice shot. Okay? So it isn't that it's a problem. It might just be there are some of the things that we would want to bring in, which wouldn't involve you having to do that. But there could be some of the simple things that we can do. So the first thing I think you should do is ramp up the cutting there. So we've got more shots than you have. And maybe think about the placement in the screen and how you're using the screen in each shot. Does that make sense? So we go backwards and forwards across the screen a little bit more, which will create an energy then through the cutting. which matches then the energy of the tempo.
Is there like ones where you can do like mirror?
I expect
Like,
so.
If you like mirrored like for a second and then brought it back in and like stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Like,
So
just for
also I
the
think
beat,
doing
like-
the cutting, yep, thinking about that kind of effect you could do as well. Get the whole edit down fast,
Yeah.
and then you begin to work on that. Okay, but that I think that's all it is actually. It's something like just doing, maybe putting on a good, thinking about that kind of effect, which might move with the beat. There is some that you can get so they actually move with the beat as well. Okay,
Yeah.
and then a transition, because she goes quite abruptly actually, doesn't it? The vocal goes quite abruptly from the chorus to the verse. So something that gets us from there to there. Okay, so again, you see how you cut in. Cut. Okay, and that one, I think that, so is it that one there? That's slightly out, the sync. You could cut there.
I know it sounds there's a bit where it drags a little bit, but I like it for the beat, if that makes sense.
Might just be you need another bass track there.
Yeah, but I kind of like it.
See, that's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same one. It's only out slightly.
Yeah.
Is that what
that's
you
what
mean?
we tried. We tried to like fast it. Like,
Yeah,
because of that.
it might be.
But we might have to make it more.
Yeah,
You see, I like it
again,
when it does that.
But it does what?
Like it goes like.
You can do that, but if you're going to do it, you need to make a motif of it. So you
Yeah.
need it to be a pattern.
Yeah, because it happened on that one again, but over here.
See that one? It just looked like it was slightly out. Okay, I think it's because it only does it once there, or it looks like it only does it once. Looks like it does it once. Whereas here, I think if you're going to use it, you need to make more of a feature of it.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what, that's
to make
what
it
I'm
more
gonna do.
obvious. And then with this one, the pan up, tilt up, body type, terminology. So that's a good shot. It's really typical as well of the genre, but I think you should wait until we get to your face. Yeah, so just a tiny bit more and then cut. And then you need something to take us back into this thing. So I wouldn't start on the shot, maybe it's about doing this kind of transition or a movement or something that gets us into that, okay?
Yeah.
So, I'll jot it down on here.
Should I stop
You can go to break if you'd like to. Yeah?